going, guys? Crypto Vit here, and just wanted to make another video here. I know a lot of you guys are currently panicking, or at the least maybe worried about what's going on with the current market. By the way, I wanted to share something really cool with you guys. Got a nice little cup here, cryptocurrency. It has quite a bit of different cryptos on here: Tron and Ripple, Bitcoin, Dash, Litecoin, Ethereum. Funny enough, my wife actually made it, so I drink all my coffee slash tea out of it. Anyways, so what is going on with the market? So let's talk about a few things. I know many of you guys have heard that there's been a lot of FUD going on, and most of it is in fact true. I mean, currently Facebook did ban some currencies. Now I want to talk about something first. Let's go in here. I want to talk about something first with you guys. So the current market right now is sitting at $458 billion. Now I'm not a speculator. I don't like to believe all the mixed rumors going around that say, hey, it's 100% because of this or that or this or that. Everybody always tries to justify why there are spikes or dips in the market. I, on the other hand, just have reason to believe that this is all a very emotional, area. This is a very emotional market, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency specific. I think it's hard to truly pinpoint down to what truly affects the market. There's probably things that cause panic to just in general. If you look at this Facebook ban, this is probably, I would say this is probably pretty huge considering a lot of ICOs and coins get advertised on crypto on Facebook. So U.S. blocks coin offering by scam bank. So a lot of people, well, this is both a good thing and a bad thing because a big outlet for cryptocurrency ICOs was using Facebook as advertising because that was one of the main sources to advertise. They're going to have to really probably buckle down and come up with a really good system to advertise now, considering the fact that there's a very limited way to advertise now because Facebook was the main method to advertise. Um, so I don't know what people are going to do when it comes to ICOs. They're going to have to find much better outlets now. Another big thing is India is trying to, the government does not consider cryptocurrencies as legal tender or coin and will take all measures to eliminate use of crypto assets. Now, this has already happened with quite a few different countries. I think everybody's just trying to jump on board. I mean, a couple of other countries did it. China did it, and Germany jumped on board, and quite a few other countries. And you know, it, it, are they going to truly ever eliminate cryptocurrencies? No. I mean, as much as they don't like the idea of cryptocurrencies, but with everything going on, I think it's just they have to consider everything. Another one that I'll tell you guys about is the battle currently going on between Tether and Bitfinex. That's another big issue. So U.S. regulators subpoena crypto exchange Bitfinex for Tether because there's a relationship between those two. I think there's people are saying that Bitfinex owns Tether or something like that. There's a strong tie between the two. And they're not being accountable for their financial statements and stuff like that. So it's causing a lot of you know mixed feelings within the market. Now, that being said, I mean one of the main ways you can get out of the market in the current with the current financial fiasco is to literally put it into Tether. Now, if Tether is risky, then what do? Potentially, your only other option is to pull your money out of the market altogether, and to put it into either your Coinbase or Gemini or CoinMama or whatever, and pull actual cash out and put into your bank. And I think this is going to probably start happening more and more if we get any more huge shifts within the news space. And the reason I say this is because this is all a lot just to swallow. I mean, usually it's one thing, it causes, there's a little bit of a shift in the market, but sometimes when a lot of this kind of happens at once, this can kind of alter the market quite a bit. Now, like I said, I'm not usually a huge enthusiast of this because I don't like to believe the fact that something like this could move the market that badly. But when so much of it happens at once, and especially with big key players like Facebook and big players like Tether. Tether is essentially the only outlet for cryptos right now. So it's like, what do? You have no security left. So that being said, let's look at the market a little bit, and take maybe a little bit more of a devil's advocate approach. Let's look at what the market kind of has done. Now, if you guys look at the market um, more currently from, let me highlight this. So if you look at the market here, it's taking a dip. Now, the very first dip that we took, I mean, this was, January 6th. It kind of went up a little bit, 7th, and then it started riding down. There's one really great quote um, that I want to tell you guys, and it's one of my favorite quotes. I heard about it a long time ago, many years when I was in the stock market. It said, "Be fearful when people are greedy, and be greedy when people are fearful." So what happens is, if when the market is going up, this is when everybody's being greedy. Everybody's being greedy here. So I want more, I want more, I want more. So they're just writing it out, writing it out, writing it out. And they're like, okay, yeah. And this is where they're starting to freak out. Like, no, 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 no. And then starting to sell off, and a lot of the fear comes in, kicks in. And this is when people should be greedy. This is not when you should be fearful. You should jump on the greed wagon. I say that very facetiously. I'm not saying be greedy, but um, this is where you should take opportunity, and I see it more as opportunity, and instead of fear. Now, do I think the market has the potential to go any lower? Yeah, I don't. I'm not saying it will, but I say conservatively that it can. I mean, from a technical analysis standpoint, if you look at the 3-month chart, um, it's in its current correction process. I mean, if you look at the 1-year chart, and I mean, it depends how you analyze it, from a 1 year or an overall, but or a 3-month, or it depends how you're looking at 1 month. But from a conservative 1-year analysis, it's still pretty volatile. I mean, if you put a line trend clear across from say from here to here, wish I could do it on here. But if you put a line through here, you would see the fact that we're still in a pretty consistent uptrend. Now, I think if it were to go anywhere below 400 billion, then we would be in considerable danger. But that being said, I don't personally think it's going to go much below 400. I think it might for a second bounce down to about 400 billion or so, and then it bounce back up. Now that would probably put Bitcoin roughly at about maybe 7,500 or 8,000. Now I think we have pretty good support levels at 9,000. Now I said that when we were at 10,000. I mean, but we can always be testing new lows, and it doesn't take much to do that. Now bear in mind, how does that happen? It doesn't take much. I mean, you can have 90% of the market not willing to sell and sitting solidly and holding, and then just 10% of the market decides to go out and to sell all their coins, and it essentially pushes the value down, 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 and it'll keep pushing it down. So it doesn't take much. It only takes a small percentage of people to freak out, and then it causes a lot of this kind of uncertainty and the fear, and it kind of kicks in, and it has like almost like a chain reaction. So, but if you guys look at the previous trends on the graphs here, let's go here real quick. Something I'll just address real quickly. Want to keep these videos at no longer than about 10 minutes or so. I mean, no longer than about 15 minutes, but I'm just over 10 minutes. But let's go over here, and I wanted to show you guys something. So if you looked at the graphs, yeah, I'm going to highlight some stuff. November. Okay, so this is November of 2013. So you got a lot of growth, a lot of growth. December dip. December growth, 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 growth. January 7th, 6th, you got dip. And then you got a lot of downwards trending going on pretty much through March. Now, if you guys looked at the here, I'll show you guys another one. If you looked at the times, this is November 2014. Huge upwards trend, kind of moving sideways through December. January hits, then you got kind of a dip here. January 14th. Now, keep in mind that January, first week of January's are usually pretty decent, but then anywhere around anything after the 7th to the 10th of January, it becomes a downtrend. Now, there was a little bit of a uptrend, and then it kind of struggled and it moved sideways all the way up through February. Now, and didn't, I mean, it still went up, but it didn't have any substantial changes. But if you consider the difference here, you got 3 billion. Even if you, at your lowest point you got just a little over 3 billion, and then it went up to 5 billion. I mean, that's almost double the market. So that's quite the growth. We haven't seen that this year. We've seen quite the opposite. So trends do change, but the fact that it dipped off right after December is exactly the same trending that's been going on for the last several years. And I'm a firm believer that history tends to repeat itself, more so than rumors. Now, I'm not saying that rumors and FUD doesn't ruin it and doesn't cause panic or stuff like that, but it does. But I'm saying that history tends to, the patterns and the trends, kind of the market kind of moves itself. So this is 2015. You have November 1st, and then we always see a huge growth um, in November sometime. And then you got November 21st, 22nd. And this is kind of when it started to push upwards. I think a great time for people to be purchasing is in September, because I notice a trend between September and January is usually always an upwards trend. If you did some TA, some technical analysis, and you looked at the patterns, you always notice an upwards trending going on through those months. Now if you look over here, Now this is January 2016. Um, Surprisingly, if you look at the uptrend, this is December 17th, December 25th, kind of a dip. And then you got here's what's crazy. You got the 15th, and look at this big dip from 7 billion, ooh, to 6 billion. So that's not that big of a dip, but it's considerable. Probably just about the same kind of dip we've seen this year, about the 15th or so of January. And then slowly, January 25th, February 2nd. Look at this. Look at this. As soon as about the first week of February hit, you got a little bit of movement. So you got an upwards trend, a little bit more volume comes in. I think people are more comfortable putting some money in, pulling out a tether, putting their money into the market and so forth. So let's look at, not this year, let's look at last year. Same thing. So you got December, of course, always you had 14 billion, cap in November, 14 billion. And then you have, bam, a lot of growth from 14 to 17. And then you had a huge amount of growth up to 22 billion. I mean, from 14 to 22 billion. That's something very similar to what we've seen this year. And now keep in mind that the market has to correct itself. So it went up to 22 billion on January 5th, 2017. Now that was exactly a year ago. And then it went downwards, and then around look at this. What's crazy is, if you look at when this happened, this is the first week of January, just like I mentioned, and then you got a huge correction. You had 22 billion up here, and then down here you have 14 billion. I would say that's what, roughly 30 plus percent of the market. That's kind of what it's done now. We were at 800 billion, and it corrected itself down to about 500 billion. Now we're a little bit lower than that right now with 450 billion, but that's probably relative to all the rumors in the news coming out. So, and then you got January kind of move that kind of started, correct itself a little bit, and you had a lot more upwards moving last year. Now, rumors will change that. So to finish this video, I just want to say, just hang in there. There's no sense into pulling money out of the market. There's absolutely no logic in selling any positions right now. I mean, if you're trying to swing trade, maybe you might get, lucky and do some swing trades right now. Well, although if you look at the market, everything's in the red, you'd have to be a pretty darn good swing trader to do anything successfully within this market. I mean, we've had everything in the last 24 hours just going to the gutter. So I think right now, just don't do anything. Just hold. For those people that are trying to um, make some money right now, I think the best thing right now is, in fact, if you have the money. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take my word for it. But if you have the money in Tether, or in your USD account on Coinbase or something, is to purchase some Bitcoin. I mean, 9 grand is a discounted price. I think um, there's a chance it could still go lower, but not for long. I mean, if it does go lower, you might get lucky enough to get it in at a lower price, but most likely it won't. So pretty much, I just wanted to address this issue and just go over the details with everybody, make everybody a little bit more comfortable. Because I have a friend of mine who actually reached out to me. He's been in this industry longer than I have, and he's freaking out. I'm having to calm him down and say, hey, it's okay. We got this. We will hang through there. Luckily enough, for most of my positions, I was able to I was able to hang on. Some of my positions, they didn't lose a whole lot of value, so um, but for most people, they're probably sitting at at least a 20 or 30% loss within the last week or so. But but some of my positions, like I hold a position in Vibe, a pretty substantial position in Vibe, and you look at Vibe, it's gone down 40% in the last 7 days. So that one kind of hurt. That one hurt. I'm not gonna lie. That one I did not expect it to go down that much, but you never know. I mean, the same thing happened when with Tron, when I was holding Tron. I mean, it never. I say it because it never actually was at 30 cents, but it literally touched 30 cents for a little amount of time, and a good position for it technically was around 22 cents. And who would have thought it would have went from 22 cents down to where it currently sits, which is at under 5 cents. I mean, we're talking about um, 508 satoshis. Those are prices that um, I mean, we're talking from December. I mean, December prices. That's crazy. Anyways, thanks for watching. Subscribe below. Hit the like button. Comment below. I'm going to be giving away, as soon as I get a little bit of a bigger following here and a bigger audience. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be giving away some Bitcoin, probably some other altcoins as well. So subscribe to my channel and stay tuned. Thank you. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to point out was, I guess a matter of more so than all the other FUD that is out there, is the fact that I believe, here's my perspective. We've already addressed the India incident, the Tether thing. Um, we've touched on the Facebook banning cryptocurrencies and stuff. Now, here's the other thing that we forgot to mention. I think this is more so the reason than all of them put together. If you look at the market as a whole, one of the biggest growths in the market that we've seen was, in November to December. The thing is I think, my opinion, and I can't stress this enough, and I think these exchanges should really, really look into this, is the fact that these exchanges have closed their doors. I mean, we're talking, Binance, Bittrex, even some of these exchanges like Bitfinex. I think some of the only exchanges that are still open up to the public are like KuCoin, and maybe there's a couple more. I think Polymex has closed their doors as well. So this makes a huge difference, because if you can't get if the coin can't get new buyers, all that's really happening is it's literally exchanging hands. It's going from one investor to the next investor, which is all the same investors. And all these and most of the investors that have been in the space are going to be really cautious at this point because they're not exactly going to get into the market to lose money right now. So keep in mind, this is a huge reason why the market isn't recovering as fast as it should be, is because these exchanges are not allowing the market to gain new traction, new followers, new investors, and that's a big downfall that to what's going on. I think the day that Bittrex, Binance, and all these other exchanges open their door indefinitely, and I think this is kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. Um, there should always be a reason for. I mean, there should always be a backup for the market becoming extremely over crammed or overpacked. And the thing is that's part of the problem we've been seeing with Bitcoin, is the fact that they can't handle the congestion, and we've seen that with Ethereum as well. And they're trying to release the Lightning network and stuff like that. I don't think it's as beneficial as people say it is. I think it's just overly compensated, overly exaggerated. But I guess we'll see when it comes out. So I just wanted to make that last note, is the fact that I think, in my personal opinion, the reason why we're not seeing the growth and the recovery of the market is because of exchanges. And you see all these areas here where you see the uptrends. This is because all these exchanges were still open, or most of them, anyways. I think Bittrex ended up closing the doors somewhere mid-December or so. And although Binance, there was still a majority of trading, and in the last several months, more exchanges have been closing the door, because what happens when one closes the door, they try to move on to the next and to the next, and essentially you start running out of exchanges. So that was, sorry, I didn't get a chance to crown that into my last thought, but those are my thoughts on why the market is still having trouble recovering. Anyways, those are my last thoughts. Thank you for watching.
Yo!